Hey, it's Bruce Feldman. Pleased to be joined this week by one of the breakout stars of this season, not just in the Pac-12, but really in the country, Laiatu Latu from UCLA, who's been a dominant defensive lineman for the Bruins. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So for people who don't know your story, you actually started out your career at Washington with a lot of optimism. I know the coaches there were really excited about you. And then you had a neck injury and then were not able to get cleared. At what point did you realize, man, my football career is maybe not going to get off the ground here?
I never really came to that realization, but I mean, as soon as I was told I couldn't play, like, you kind of have that, like, thing in the back of your mind, like, dang, like, it's over. But as soon as, like, I was told that, I didn't have anyone to really talk to. And I just told myself, like, I feel like I'm not done. I know my body. I'm still able to move and all this. And still have my strength and all that. And I was determined the whole way through, and I'm here right now.
Was it an injury at the end? Because you did play your freshman year at UW. Was it at the end of your freshman season?
It was it was right before that COVID season. So like I remember we were supposed to play Cal, and then they had something happen with COVID, and it was the next week after that. It was that 2020 COVID season.
Yeah, I think actually UCLA ended up playing Cal in that game. It was kind of it was everything was so chaotic.
Yeah, it
I mean,
was.
was it, I mean, did you feel something was wrong? Was it just a play at practice, or was it like, how did it kind of, how did it kind of unfold?
Yeah, it was just a play at practice, and it's weird. Just felt weird, and had the trainers look at it, got an MRI, and yeah, that's how they came to their conclusion.
Yeah, I understand that. Like from what Jimmy Lake had said, I guess you had seen a bunch of specialists, and were you just kind of holding out hope that at some point, hey, this is, as you said, your body really well. At some point, this is gonna go in the other direction for me.
Really, it was just it was my mom. She helped me a lot with reaching out to doctors and stuff like that. And we found the right person that was here out in LA, and UCLA was a school that was able to give me everything that I've been searching for.
Familiar face for you in Westwood in Keiko Malloy, who's coached a lot of great D linemen. How has it been to get reunited? I know he's maybe in a different role there, but also, with you now playing technically the linebacker position. I mean, does it just feel like kind of, all right, this is a little bit meant to be now?
It just feels because I look at him as a father figure. He took care of me at UW, looked out for me, and we're here together now. And it hasn't stopped. So, I love being in his room. I love being his player, and I love having him as a coach. And I know all the other dudes in our room do as well.
What was the low point for you when you're trying to get cleared and as this great athlete, not just a great football player, we're going to get into this in a minute, but just a incredibly talented rugby player as well, to be on the sideline and think, man, my athletic career is over. Was there a particular low point where you really had your doubts, or how did you cope with all that?
I really, it was just hard not being on the team and not feeling like included, not being part of the team basically. But I just it's been a real spiritual journey for me, and I got to thank God for everything. And I think that God is what's been keeping me going and really staying strong through it all. Like, at times, yeah, I'd cry and it'd be sad, but I'd pick myself back up and get in that weight room, get on the field, and continue to do what I've been doing since high school, since I was a kid.
Was it even more challenging just because the program was really struggling? I mean, in the COVID year, they went 3-1, but then last year it just seemed like the bottom kind of fell apart. And a lot of these guys are your brothers who are,
Yeah,
in the middle of it, and you can't help them. And if you're healthy, you would be able to.
that was super hard, and it's crazy you bring that up because I think really that was the lowest point. Not being able to play, but also these dudes that I love, I see on the field, I'm there at the games, practices, and not seeing them play to their potential. It was hard, and not being able to do anything about it or like kind of try and step up and be a leader. I really couldn't couldn't do that. I did that as much as I could, but I think that was the hardest part for me too.
When was the moment that you put on the pads at UCLA where you're like, man, I'm going to let all this out now. Like it's almost like I'm not saying you didn't appreciate it before, but after having the game kind of taken away from you for basically 2 seasons now, where it's like, all right, all this stuff is going to come out now.
I got here in January and I wasn't able to do anything physically the spring during spring camp. But I still had the pads on, and I think that first day of spring camp, I see my pads in my helmet, and I was like, "Wow, this is crazy!" You know, I'm looking at my helmet, I get to put it back on, I get to put my shoulder pads back on, and have no one tell me that I can't. So I think that was it.
What went through your mind the first time you they told you you were going to be able to get cleared to be back on the field?
It was so many emotions at that point. I really can't pinpoint what I was feeling, but I know I immediately called my mom and told her that, this is the green light. Like she started breaking down and we had our little moment and I just immediately called my mom and I had to tell her.
Were you in LA when they told her, and she's up in Northern California, right?
Yeah, yep.
For you on the field now, how much did you lose a bunch of weight when you were not able to play, or did you? I mean, where did your like? And I understand you're still got back up to around 265, but did
Yeah.
your weight drop?
I actually got here at 285. I got to UCLA at 285, still running around, still moving. I was in good shape. But I think the football part of it and like team and all the practices that's what kind of got my weight down, all that sweating and stuff. But yeah,
With now that you're seeing the results on the field, what goes through your mind? Last Friday night, you're undefeated, your old school's undefeated, and everybody's fired up about that team.
yeah.
And you, not only do you make a couple of big plays, you're also like drawing holding penalties, probably against guys you went up against in practice a bunch. I mean, how hard was it to control your emotions with all that going on?
I really let my emotions out. I'd say like I kept my emotions like held in before the game, but as soon as we got it cracking, like and we're on that field, I was super excited. I was super juiced, and it just felt like practicing with them again because it was all the same dudes. It felt like I was lining up against them on back at in Seattle during practice, and it just felt like my freshman year, and it was just crazy. And now see where I'm at 3 years later.
How surreal does it feel to actually get back into the middle of this now? And this team is 5-0. You have a huge game this weekend against a really good Utah team that's actually ranked higher than you guys. I think a lot of people are noticing you're second in the country in sacks now with 6. I mean, do you at times catch yourself going, man, this is really happening?
I for sure do because it has been a long time since I've been out of the game, and I don't. I try. I don't really pay attention to that as much. I love being here in the facility every day. I love being here with the dudes that I get to play with, and that's what I'm focused on. I'm focused on this week and trying to get better and go as far as we can with this team.
Any hesitation or any doubt in your mind just because of what the other doctors had said? Or, I mean, I can't imagine you can play this game with fear or doubt, but
Yeah.
is there anything in the back of your head just knowing what people had diagnosed before?
When I'm on that field, I have no. I'm not thinking about anything else but the play I've been given and winning. That's all I'm thinking about on the field.
For people who don't know that much about your background, you were this almost legendary high school rugby athlete, right? And your program, I guess your coach had 10 national title teams, and he said in over 2 decades, you were by far the most physically dominant athlete he'd ever had. Was there a part where that could have been your path as opposed to football, or is it just football here is just so much of a bigger deal in the United States that this is the best path for me?
I talked to my rugby coach, Coach Shorey. I talked to Coach Lou, Coach Andrew, and Coach Shorey told me, I have the opportunity to play like right out of high school. I can go overseas and play professionally and make money from there. But I knew my mom wanted me to, get the degree and stuff, and that was the path I chose.
How is there any part of that sport and that game that has really translated or maybe helped you as a football player?
Almost definitely. I think that I wouldn't be the athlete I am today without rugby. I think rugby made me a better tackler. and just a better athlete overall.
Have you ever said to Chip, "Hey, it's I know Zach is really good, but short yardage situation, you should see what I can do with the ball in my hands."
I've never bring that up to him, but I might now that you bring it up, and he knows I play rugby too, so we'll see.
Do you miss playing it and not having that outlet on that side of it?
Yeah, I do miss playing it because I love that sport with a passion, and I love who I was able to play with in the past, and the coaches who've coached me, and the whole I say the whole like aura around the game. It's a loving game, and I do miss it, but I'm here now in the present.
If there was a chance, would you like to try to play professionally in that sport down the road?
Most definitely.
If you had to choose and the money was the same, which would you do?
Honestly, I choose rugby. I do love rugby a lot. I do love rugby a lot, and you can play. You're playing both sides, and it's a non-stop sport, and you get to travel the world as well, and experience new cultures, different things, and meet new people. I mean, you can do that with football too, but rugby is worldwide.
Well, you could probably lobby your coach to play both ways too if he wants to have a big short yardage back to add to Zach, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate you joining us today. I think it's been an amazing story so far and excited to see what's next for you.
Thank you very much, Bruce, for having me.